Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. I'm Beall. The topic of this discussion is, what is taking responsibility for yourself? This is another unscripted video. I don't know how long it's going to be. I have a lot of points I want to cover in it that folks just generally need to be aware of. I thought about doing a separate video on this particular aspect of it, but I think I'll fold it in here because it does dovetail into this topical matter. For those of you that watch the news or current events or whatever, I want you to pay attention to how the cards are being played. If you look at any issue that's presented to the public, they are all emotionally fired. They are designed to trigger your emotions, to create a knee-jerk reaction. Now, the school shooting in Florida was a tragedy. I sympathize with those who lost loved ones. But you have to look at the idiocy of some of this stuff where they're screaming for Congress to stop the violence. Okay, so let's rush out and pass a new law that handicaps everybody for the sake of one crazy dumb shit that went off on a shooting spree. You can't legislate against crazy folks. There's no law that Congress or anybody else is going to pass that's going to stop the random nut job from doing something violent. If you take the guns out, they'll find something else. But this is the emotional reactive idiocy that the public is spoon-fed every day. They control you psychologically by triggering your emotions. And all of these emotions, the emotional reactions, were established in our body, mind, and our psyche by the virus itself. So by controlling your emotions, by triggering emotional knee-jerk reactions without any thought whatsoever, they control you psychologically. They push your hot buttons, they play your sympathy buttons, they play your anger buttons. And so you run with your emotions. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. And if you want to know why cultures are so easy to manipulate, it's because they can play your emotions like a fiddle. And the worst part of this is that everybody wants to blame someone else for their emotional reactions, which is utterly hogwash. How many times have you said to somebody, "Oh, you make me so mad"? Well, I'm sorry, I don't make you mad. You are the only person in charge of your emotions. If you get mad, it's because you make you mad. Not because of anything I said, not because of anything I wrote. If you choose to get mad, or if you choose to get sad, or if you choose to get happy, you're the one that is singularly and solely in charge of your emotional responses. But so long as we can get emotionally riled and point a finger at someone else, we don't have to take responsibility for ourselves. We like to think that our emotional reactions are blamed on somebody else, that somebody else makes us do this. No, that's bullshit. The only person that decides what your emotional reaction is going to be to anything is you. Own it. Quit blaming. Quit throwing it out on somebody else and own your own shit. This is what we have been trying to teach in our books and through these videos. You cannot be personally responsible, and the most responsible thing that you have control over is your own goddamn emotions. If you can't control your emotions, then you have no responsibility. You're taking no responsibility. You're always wanting to blame somebody else for your reactions. Well, you know what, folks? Nobody can dictate how you react emotionally to any given situation except you. It is all internal. Your emotions are your emotions, not mine, not your neighbors, not your husband's, not your kids. If something pisses you off, it's because you let it piss you off. And this is why people don't like particularly the Demystifying the Mystical book, because I poke at the ego habits established by the virus. If what you read in that book pisses you off, it's not because I'm pissing you off, it's because your own ego habits are pissing you off. It is you pissing you off. not me. All I'm doing is providing information on how this works. How you react emotionally, that's your problem. And until you take responsibility for your own emotions and your own reactions, you're not being personally responsible. You're playing a blame game. You're externalizing what you feel on others. But no one can control your emotions but you. If you want to be emotionally reactive, then you're just a wind-up toy to the psychological manipulators, because they know that in order for you to do what they want you to do, all they have to do is ratchet up your emotions, create a knee-jerk reaction, and you will follow in lockstep behind the herd. That's how it works. It's all a psychological game, but the psychology is driven by your emotions, and you can only be controlled psychologically through your emotions when you have no control over them. When you want to blame somebody else for what makes you mad or what makes you sad. Your emotions are your emotions and no one else's. Own it. That's what's called personal responsibility. It's not just about your actions. It's not just about going out to wash the car when you say you're going to wash the car. It's about being fully aware of how your emotions have been programmed to be manipulated through psychological control. If my material or Gemma's material makes you mad when you read it, we're not making you mad. You're making you mad. And this is another point that I want to elucidate here. Anytime you feel an adverse emotional response to any of our work, those are your work areas. We have been talking about a clearing process. You can sit there and blame us for you getting mad, but the fact of the matter is you're the one responsible for your emotional reactions. So when you find these reactions, you need to step back and analyze, okay, why does this make me mad? Why do I allow it? And this is the journey within. It is the self-analysis as to what pushes your hot buttons. And if you refuse to look at this and want to continue to blame, then you're not going to move an inch forward. The ego Hapim virus plugged in emotional control, and that's how it controlled our consciousness. That's how it controlled our psyche. What gets pissed on this is your programming based on the virus infection. And it is this emotional programming, as well as the cognitive deconstruction, that is required for you to find genuine emotional equanimity and balance. As long as you can have your buttons pushed, someone's going to push them. As long as you blame somebody else for your emotional reactions, you are not being personally responsible. You are blaming others for your shit. And this stuff is what the whole second cognition path is about owning your own stuff. It is about fessing up and admitting, damn, I do this. Because until you do, you're nothing but a reactive wind-up toy in the hands of the psychological controllers of the world. Whether they be religious, political, ideological, racial, it doesn't matter. If it stirs up your emotions, you're being played. We are not here to play your emotions. We are here to inform you. How you react to the information that we present on an emotional level is your responsibility and your problem. If you have a reaction, what you would call a negative reaction, then you need to analyze yourself what in this information is making you so uncomfortable. Because that uncomfortability resides in you, not in us. Your discomfort, your anger, your depression, your angst, your high elevated situations of joy, they're all in your hands. It's not somebody else's problem. It is your problem. So when we talk about taking responsibility for yourself, this is what we're talking about. Quit being an emotional marionette. Quit letting others push your buttons and pull your strings. Analyze why you react emotionally the way you do. And when you get to the root of it, we've provided tools like Cell Talk to help you get rid of that programming to where you can find that emotional balance and become a genuine human being instead of an emotionally driven, psychologically controlled puppet on a string. This is what this whole process is about. It's about conscious awareness. It's about recognizing why we are the way we are. And when you find out how you tick and alter that, then you're not going to be manipulatable anymore. You will be your own governor. You will be able to make clear and rational decisions without an emotional knee-jerk reaction to everything that upsets you or that you disagree with. Until humanity can step into this in full, in toto, the world is going to be controlled through emotional manipulation and psychological control. Whenever you decide you want to be done with this stuff, then work with our processes. Take responsibility for yourself, and that includes your emotional reactions to everybody and things around you. Quit being played like a fiddle. For all those of you doing the work, stay the course and don't give up on yourselves.